Hello, hello, and welcome into the PHNX Suns Podcast presented by Shady Rays. We are coming to you live from the Legacy Club at Circa. I'm Lindsay Smith. That's Saul Bookman. That's Espo. And we also have some special guests joining us as well. Next to Espo, we've got Derek Stevens, CEO and owner of Circa Resort and Casino and Circa Sports. And next to him, we've got Chris Wilberding, Director of Operations here at Circa. Gentlemen, thank you so much for joining us. How you doing this morning?
Doing great. Great to be on the show. Great to see everybody.
Finally, a starting five I can fuck with. So, let's do it.
Listen, I'm not going to lie. Circa has been an absolute delight to be at the last couple of days, whether it's been just in our rooms, which are fantastic, or hanging out at Victory Burger, Stadium Swim, now the Legacy Club up here. This is gorgeous. Absolutely gorgeous.
Yeah, I agree. What type of room view do you have? You guys looking over Stadium Swim?
I am.
Yeah,
yes.
It's not a bad view, huh?
Dude, it's epic. It's epic.
I agree.
I love it.
I think we share an interior decorator, though, the Legacy Club, and I have the same gold bar thing in my home as well.
Oh, do you?
Yeah, great. I love it.
When you guys look at Circa, what are you trying to create vibes-wise? Like, what is your goal for the people who come to Circa to just enjoy things?
Yeah, I've been coming to Vegas for a long time, and when we had a chance to take this city block and design something from scratch, the one thing a lot of people said, "Well, what's the theme going to be?" Things like that. I said, "I really don't want a theme. I want to celebrate the history of Las Vegas." And right here, like where we're at right now, we're right in the middle of the entire valley. You get the great view to the north. You got the strip to the south, Red Rock Mountains, and we wanted to celebrate the history of Vegas. So not like circa 1930. Or circa 1950 or circa 1990. We just wanted to celebrate all the eras. And when you're up here, you get to see how all of Vegas kind of started. I mean, if we were right here, if this would have been 30 years ago, half of Vegas wouldn't even be here right now. So it kind of gives you a little perspective on things. So that's kind of what we wanted to do. Beyond that, we celebrate sports, we celebrate drinking, we celebrate having a good time.
We love that.
That sounds like our show. All right.
How did the concept of the Stadium Swim come about? Because that's obviously one of the most iconic parts of this hotel. Who is the Imagineer behind that?
Well, if you go up, I'm going to let you finish the story. If you go up Stadium Swim, you're on the second floor. You got the box office, and you go up the longest escalator in the state of Nevada.
Yeah, no, I feel like it was the stairway to heaven.
Yes.
There's a sign with about 60 names or so, and what that is that's a group that I included, that we went out and we did research, fully immersive research through Arizona, California, Miami, all over the country, every pool in Vegas, and we just came up with something. I mean, it wasn't really some big design consultant. It was basically it's the root element was my wife likes to go to a pool. I like going to a pool. She likes music. I like music. Yeah. She really wasn't sweating out the bets, but I'm on a Sunday afternoon I'm going to have 20 bets going, and I needed to have a television I could see. So we developed something with betting and with the big screen out there, 143-foot screen. And then all of us just took time going out, and we effectively spent 2 years getting hammered on weekends, sketching things out and trying to decipher what we sketched out on a Monday.
Yeah, I mean, I'd say research days were the most fun days. Those would generally be classified as Sunday fun days. It really started when football season was over. Before Circuit was built, we'd all be kind of hanging out at the D around Long Bar. And, it was the next morning, and it was Sunday morning, and everyone would be there at 8 a.m. And obviously the select crew that he'd grab was like, all right, where are we going today? And we would research the absolute shit out of all these clubs around Vegas. So it was a fun Sunday for sure for everyone involved, especially when it was every single Sunday during that summer.
Yeah, if you guys need a Phoenix wing of the research department, Saul and I are available.
More than happy to do it.
Absolutely.
One of my favorite elements of the hotel is Vegas Vicki. Now, can you tell me the story behind that? I know it's a reclamation project, basically, right?
Yeah. So, on this city block, so where we're at, we're between Main Street and First, between Fremont Street and Ogden. So it's a full city block. And when we started putting this together, there were 9 businesses here. And it's pretty crazy, but we were able to purchase each one of these. And I never thought this could happen, but all the stars aligned. And then what we did is we went through a demolition process. So we demolished all the buildings while we were going through design of building Circa. And on one of the buildings, it was an old strip club called the Glitter Gulch. You probably heard that term. And outside the building, you had Vegas Vicki, the sign hanging on the side of the building. So what happened was it kind of fell apart a little bit over the years. But we kind of thought, we should save this and take that from the outside and move it inside and make it visual. It's a very iconic sign. Yeah. I guess this day and age we say, well, we took Vicki. She was hanging in the streets for 3 decades. We shipped her ass off to rehab, got her full of neon, ready to roll, and we brought her inside. So now everybody can come inside, take a picture.
Like a true gentleman. You took care of Vicki. I like it.
So now Vegas Vicki is one of the most iconic signs, I think, in Vegas history. We like to celebrate a little bit of the history of Vegas. So that's why we wanted to bring the sign inside and kind of celebrate Vicki.
Yeah, absolutely. So obviously we're here for NBA Summer League. We love basketball. Can we interest you guys into coming and being a part of the bandwagon that is the Phoenix Suns right now?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I'm a big fan. Just for background, I'm a Belgian, so I'm a kind of Kamara guy. So I've been following him. He had a great game in game one. Yeah. So I enjoyed that. I assume you're a Brown guy. Because he's a Michigan State guy. So that's kind of where it would go. But yeah, we're interested. We love it. We love the NBA here.
I mean, Tumani Kamara is fantastic.
Yep.
And he and I are best friends. I don't know if you know that. I just like to throw that out to everybody.
They're not. They're not.
But also, you guys are both Michigan guys. One's a Michigan State guy. But Devin Booker from Michigan as well. Have you guys followed his career? And what are your overall impressions of how he's taken this franchise from basically nothing to one of the best teams in the NBA?
Yeah, I mean, Devin Booker's a beast. And the way he can pop off and, dropping 40 and dropping 50, seeing those games is very exciting to see. And, I'll be completely honest, not the biggest NBA guy, but being able to see a Michigan guy go out and do that and kind of lead, a Phoenix Suns team, it's pretty cool to see.
Can I sell you on why you should be an NBA guy, in particular the Suns?
Please.
Michigan State. Matt Ishbia, Justin Ishbia, the two main owners, Michigan State guys. And then our CEO's a Michigan guy, Josh Barberstein. Yeah. So we can get you in.
There's a lot of crossover there.
The Michigan propaganda is real.
Listen, we got a lot of connections here. It's going to work out really well.
I was in Scottsdale when the Ishbia announcement happened, and it was pretty amazing. I was listening to a couple of the local stations, and boy, the energy coming on. And then obviously what happened right before the trade deadline, and Ishbia giving the approval. Boom, that was something.
Yeah, what were we there for? We were there for the Waste Open. We were Waste Management, weren't we, when that came out?
We were there for the Waste Management Open, but I think you probably said it more correctly. We were there for the
Waste. Don't worry, everybody in Arizona has gone to the Waste Open. For sure.
Basically what it is. Well, gentlemen, thank you so much for stopping in and joining us. Thank you for the hospitality. Just real quick, for everyone watching and listening, give us your best sales pitch. Why should they choose Circa?
Well, I'll tell you, I'll give you the Circa's got the best view of anywhere in Vegas, of all of Vegas. And this Legacy Club is one of our destinations where it's a must visit. Whether you're staying here or not, you got to come up to Legacy Club one night. And then Stadium Swim is a must see. Outdoor aqua amphitheater, 143-foot screen, and great place. 8 pools to be able to watch everything. And then down below, if you like sports, this is where you got to come. It's the world's largest sports book.
It's amazing.
I tried to do that in 30 seconds.
No, that's fantastic.
What do you got?
I don't want to, top the owner here, but we created a sports lover's paradise.
Yes.
So if you love sports, there's no doubt you're going to fall in love with Circa.
Absolutely.
Yeah, absolutely.
I mean, we've got people in the chat saying that you guys hosted some Vegas Golden Night watch parties that were an absolute blast. So you already got fans in our chat right now, you guys.
I love that.
Thank you so much for joining us again. We really appreciate you, and thank you for the hospitality. We'll definitely be back.
Well, thank you very much for being with us, and you're more than welcome. We love everybody from Phoenix coming up this way.
Yeah,
Thanks, guys.
Easy trip to make and well worth it. Well worth it.
1,000,000%.
Everybody listening and watching right now, make sure you guys check out Circa. It is an absolute blast over here. So whether you are staying here or just visiting Las Vegas, you have to come in and check it out. Also, want to tell you guys about our friends over at OG's. We love our friends over at OG's. They do not miss when it comes to flavor and effect. So get your pink lemonade gummies while you can. You can check out OGs online at ogsbrands.com. You can find them on Instagram at ogsbrands. And of course, you can find their products at your local dispensary. But you must be 21 years or older to purchase. Make sure you check out that brand new limited edition pink lemonade gummy while you're out there looking at it. And of course, Game Time is the place to go to snag the tickets without the stress. If you download the Game Time app, create an account, and use code PHNX, you're going to get $20 off your first purchase. Terms do apply. But again, create an account and redeem code PHNX for $20 off. Download Game Time today. Last minute tickets, lowest prices guaranteed. All right, now we're going to welcome in the fourth member of the PHNX.
I don't
Suns
like.
crew.
Can we switch seats, Gerald? I'm not comfortable.
You guys
with
should
it.
switch
Can
seats. This is odd. I don't like this at all.
Now I got to look
What
this
are we doing
direction.
here?
I'm too comfortable now. I sat down. It's over.
Gerald's like, I already took a nap, so I'm not going to be able to wake up anymore. All right, guys, let's talk a little bit of Suns basketball. It's been a busy weekend here in Las Vegas for Summer League. Gerald, I know you guys have been catching up with tons of people down at the Thomas and Mack Center, one of which is Nekias Duncan, and you talked to him just about how the Suns did in free agency.
Suns obviously had limited room to work with, limited flexibility, but they did a really nice job with their vet minimums. What do you think of their offseason and some of the guys they were able to get?
Well, they signed Bobo, so I mean, once you throw him in there. But no, in all seriousness, I think they did a really good job considering the limitations that they had with the cap. Like, I think Suns fans are really going to enjoy KBD. I think he's going to be fun defensively. And if the shooting proves real, I think I tweeted about it once the signing came through. Like, I think it can be the steal of the offseason if the shot really holds firm for him. Just someone that knows how to connect, can knock down some shots, and defensively can guard all over the place. And if Phoenix is going to lean more into switching, which is what I think based on the personnel that they have and what they've added so far, I think they're going to lean more into the switching than they did last year. I think it just works. And you add Eric Gordon, who can slip a little bit defensively, but obviously can't guard up a position because of how strong he is. It's another switch guy. You bring Josh Okogie back, can defend his tail off at the point of attack. I think they have enough to formulate top 12 defense. And you look at the offensive potential of this group, top 12 might be all they need to really be an elite team, again, provided that they stay healthy. But I love it. You get Utah in there. Like, I think there's a level of lineup versatility that they have. They really addressed the corner shooting thing in particular based on what happened in that Denver series. So I liked a lot of their moves. I think they did a really good job.
Well, that's nice praise from Nekias Duncan. We appreciate that. I also think the Suns did a really nice job. What do you guys think?
I think they did a fantastic job, and we've talked about it at length. And we're going to get to a segment at the end of this show that kind of talks about somebody bringing up that we didn't do enough and that we don't really know who we are. So, it's whatever. I think they have done absolutely enough, especially bench-wise, to cover up the weaknesses that they had from a year ago, some of the deficiencies that they looked at, they tried to address. And I just think overall their length is better than it was a year. I always felt like Torrey Craig's phenomenal, don't get me wrong, but I always felt like he was in between positions, like he's a small forward and a power forward, kind of in between. I think when you look at a guy like Keita Bates-Diop, he's kind of the same, except because of his length, it makes it a little bit more tricky in size-wise and versatility-wise. It gives you a little bit more. And so I'm just excited about this team overall.
Yeah, I'm excited that Nekias actually sees it. There's so many national guys who are just like, blah, blah, blah. Nekias actually was one of the first to jump on this bandwagon, loved the Beal move, really enjoyed what they did in free agency. And, sometimes I need validation. We can be in an echo chamber here. In regular life, too, sometimes I need validation. Surprise, surprise.
You're good enough. And doggone it, I
thank
love
you. Oh, look at that. We finally got the hug it took Vegas. But,
It took 2 years and a trip to Vegas.
No, that's the first time on camera. But anyway, look, I like that Nekias sees it, though, because there's just so many good things that have happened this offseason. And I know a lot of people are nostalgic for the 2021 run and the guys that were homegrown. But when you look at this is the best Suns team in terms of top-tier talent, and then I think even bench depth that with some of the guys that they added that we've seen in at least the last 20 years, and I'd go as far as potentially ever in terms of top talent. These four guys that are going to be in the starting lineup are the four most talented guys you've had in one starting lineup. with the Suns. And that's no slight to the 93 team. That's no slight to 7 seconds or less. This is top-end talent.
Ooh.
You've got 3 guys in Booker, KD, and Bradley Beal that are top 30 NBA guys. I'm sorry. I love Nash. I love Amari. I love Marion, but they were not all those guys, right? And then you add in DeAndre Ayton, who is, sure, he hasn't lived up to everything we thought, but when he becomes your 4th option, he might be the best 4th option in Suns history.
Yeah, I'm really high on what they did this summer because, like you said, like the Bradley Beal thing, if you can make that happen for as little as they had to give up, if you're looking at it, like what he brings to the table is more than what Chris Paul was able to give you in terms of being a scoring threat. Obviously not the same playmaker or true point guard, but you add in Bradley Beal for such a low price, and then you go out and you just dominate on the margins in free agency with role players for vet minimums that can help you. Nekias mentioned it, like KBD is a guy that we're really going to love here because I think he said it, if the shooting holds up, if it proves to be real like it was last season, his defensive versatility could make him one of the biggest steals of the offseason, and that's something I believe the Athletics' John Hollinger said as well. So there are national guys that are high on what the Suns have done. They like what they've done. Obviously, they didn't get any more game changers because that would be ridiculous on top of already getting Bradley Beal, like we already got one. But it's nice to hear the national guys they like what the Suns have done.
Okay, yeah. KBD. That's not hype. That's when you look at a guy that signs a minimum. I'm just gonna say it now. It's not hype. The guy shot well on what was the worst team in basketball with the Spurs. Now when you look at it, he's going to get open looks. This is just a high-value signing for a guy that is really one of your bench guys that you signed for a minimum. It's not hype. It's just value is what it is with KBD.
This is going to be a subtle flex. I'm just going to say it. Gerald and I were walking around the Wynn last night, and we saw Keita. And he passed us, and we said, "Welcome to the Valley," and he was really nice and cordial and moved about his way. He's a lot bigger than I thought he was going to be. He's taller than I thought he was, and he's not. He looks like he's kind of skinny on TV. In person, he was he was girthier. He was.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah. Also,
girthier than girth.
He was girthier than girth. Also, we saw J. Cole. There you
go. We did see J. Cole.
I was so excited about J. Cole. Fantastic. I mean, okay, well, let's skip around a little bit here. We were talking a lot about Keita Bates-Diop. A lot of people have brought him up in the conversation around the Suns. Gerald, you also caught up with a former teammate of his, Doug McDermott. Let's see what Doug McDermott had to say about Keita.
Just a very versatile player. He can play a lot of different positions. He can guard a lot of different positions. I think you're going to be surprised at some of the stuff he's able to do around the rim with his length. He can finish layups I've never seen just because how long his arms are. And more than that, just an unbelievable guy, really good locker room guy, one of my favorite teammates I've ever played with. So I was sad to see him go, but I was also happy to see him in Phoenix because I think it's a great spot for him.
Oh, Dougie Buckets likes him.
Yeah.
All right.
Dougie McBuckets. Yeah. I love me some Dougie McBuckets.
Yeah, he was super nice. He set aside 2 or 3 minutes to talk to me about him and about Drew Eubanks, and he's really high on what the Suns have done, and he's happy for both of them that they get to go to Phoenix and contend right away. So that's always good. I mean, most of these guys say nice things about each other, their former teammates, obviously, but one of my favorite teammates I've ever played with is pretty strong praise. So
well, I mean, and I don't think every guy just blows smoke about former teammates.
That's true.
Can't imagine Jordan Poole's doing the media circuit about Draymond Green right now.
Listen, he did get asked about that.
Can I just sidebar real quick? Stop asking him about that. Just.
But I like that. It sounds like he's going to be a good locker room guy, which it sounds, based on what we've heard from Frank Vogel, he's all about have fun but work hard, and you need good locker room guys to lead that as well. I like that. As a bench guy, he's also going to be good for the locker room.
Absolutely. Gerald, you also mentioned it. You spoke with Doug about Drew Eubanks. Here's what he had to say about him as well.
You mentioned Drew as well. What do fans need to know about his defense? Because he's a pretty good rim protector.
He really is.
Don't know that.
He really is. He's a very strong, mobile athlete. and he just makes the right play on offense too. He knows his role, and he's a really good communicator out there too. So I think obviously replacing Jock with Drew is, they're very similar, great guys, and I think he's gonna have a great year for the Suns as well.
I've been saying it, and this is no disrespect to Jock because we all love him, and he's going to do great things in Houston, and he would have been suited for this role as well. But Drew Eubanks gives you a little bit of something different. They're similar in terms of their productivity, but they do it in different ways. Drew Eubanks, I feel like, is a little bit more aggressive at the rim, both offensively and defensively, and that little bit of pop. One of the things that I feel like we kind of missed a little bit last year is like you didn't have anybody that was just going to like try to take your head off. Mm-hmm. And I feel like they've shored that up in a couple different ways through free agency. And so I'm a big Drew Eubanks guy before I even watched him play a single second for the Suns because I've seen his other games and I've been impressed. And I think he's going to do big time things with this offense that doesn't need much from the interior because they're so good offensively.
Yeah, I agree. I think he's actually going to be the surprise of these offseason signings. I think he's going to be the guy Suns fans gravitate to because it's going to be high energy. You're going to get some of those dunks that Suns fans clamor for from the center position. And I think he's going to surprise. And what Vogel will be able to do with him defensively as a rim protector, I think is going to catch some attention as well. So I think Drew Eubanks, if I'm going to hype somebody that's on this Suns bench, he might be the guy that I do that with.
He rates really well as a rim protector, a guy that opponents shot, I think, 4 or 5% worse at the rim when he was guarding them. And that's all you need out of your backup center. Like, you need a guy that's efficient. You need a guy that's athletic. And for all the concerns about the Suns' big three, their age, their injury history, which is fair, they have added a little bit of athleticism on the margins with a guy like Drew Eubanks, underrated athlete. Kamara, we saw what he's able to elevate. So it's going to be good. These guys aren't going to play huge roles, but they're going to fill them well. And that's what you need out of your bench, and that's what they didn't get last year.
Who do we think is going to have the best poster this season, Eubanks or Kamara? Because I feel like both of them have it in them, and we're going to get one.
It's 1,000,000% going to be Eubanks.
You think? I mean, just the playing time alone probably leans in his favor.
And
but
he also, to dunk on people, sometimes you got to have that like I don't give a fuck mode in your head. Like, I don't care if I get injured myself. I'm going to destroy this guy at the rim. And Eubanks is just that perfect kind of crazy. It looks like.
Yeah, I think Eubanks is going to catch a couple bodies and when he's dunking, which will make it
be a lot of baptisms in the footprint center this year.
Granted, Kamara may be playing against fourth string guys after you're up 30, so he might make a pretty big poster.
Then I'm going to want my Air Eubanks shirt.
There you go.
You heard that, Eric?
Yeah. When he ends Aaron Gordon on Christmas, I want a T-shirt.
Oh man.
oh boy,
The best part about that shirt, by the way, it was Landry Shamet.
Knock it off! We have a no Landry slam it rule here now.
All right, we have an embargo.
That's the last one. That's the last one ever.
You've said that every single time.
It's the last one for this show. We'll be back tomorrow.
It's the last one from Vegas.
Oh,
liar!
we still have a whole other show tomorrow.
I don't believe
Oh
it.
fuck! I thought this was the last show.
Nope, still got a whole one.
Okay, all right. Well.
So I was like one of those bands that keeps going, I'm going on my final tour, and 30 years later, then they stop playing.
You got to play the hits, man.
Oh man.
My goodness. All right, so we talked about Keita Bates-Diop. We've talked about Drew Eubanks. Let's now talk a little bit about Eric Gordon because, Gerald, you caught up with Clippers writer Justin Russo, and he had some nice things to say about him.
Obviously, everyone knows about the gravity where he can just, 35 feet he'll pull up. But I think also the one thing that got lost with Eric is he's better defending threes and sometimes switchable fours than he is on guard. You don't want him really out on the perimeter defending against speedy guards, but he plays up a position. I think with the Clippers, what he kind of got lost in is that Kawhi and PG weren't really ever healthy at the same time. So it kind of muddied his role, and they expected more out of him than kind of what he gave them. But he did shoot 42% from three. I think people didn't really realize that, but they're getting a good, solid vet. He knows his role. He's just not going to overexert himself and try to take a role that isn't, something he's comfortable with.
But Gerald, he's past his prime. He can't do it. That's what I keep hearing about Eric Gordon. Yet 42% three-point shooting, I think that could help.
Yeah, it definitely could help. And like we've been talking about, the dude has the fourth highest distance from the three-point line when he shoots his threes in the NBA. So this is a guy that is not just going to hit threes, but you have to account for him 4, 5, 6 feet past the 3-point line. That helps your spacing a ton. So I think that's really going to help the Suns. He's still a very good finisher around the rim despite being older. And defensively, he rates pretty well. I know Justin said you don't want him on the perimeter, but he is a guy, because he is so strong, that he's a little more switchable than you would expect given his size.
Are you concerned that he's not going to have to shoot from that far out because he's been so wide open that it might throw him off?
It happened to Terrence Ross, to be honest with you.
True.
He wasn't used to being that open, so hopefully it doesn't bother EG. But I think there are levels to this between the two of them.
There's back-to-back years we've had a smaller guard, if you will, that is physical and strong enough to hold the attack at down low in the post. Chris Paul was that guy last year. Like, Chris Paul was not a pushover when he got posted up because he got that old man strength. And Eric Gordon's got that same kind of old man strength. I would even say that he's a little bit girthier. That's the second time we've used that word today.
He's got that bigger backside than Chris Paul was bringing. He's got that old man junk in the trunk. He's got the Kyle Lowry going.
What is happening?
What'd you say?
Where did old man strength come
Have you ever what happened was back in the day, kids fucked around and they found out because they would challenge the old man in the bar and they would put their hands on him. And so he's got that old man strength. Yeah.
What the hell just happened the last 30 seconds?
Story time. I didn't know.
But by the way, our friend Brendan Clean has figured out that Gerald's feeling Vegas a little bit. He says Gerald sounds like Vegas right now. So.
I was up late reporting.
He was embedded trying to figure out what's going on in Vegas for sure.
Oh my God. Listen, it's been a really fun trip, but I'm not going to lie. How everyone says 48 hours in Vegas is the ideal time.
Mm-hmm.
We've passed 48 hours now, and I'm starting to feel it.
Oh, yes. I'm thriving.
This is
you were in bed by 11.
I was. Rejuvenation. And now I'm back on the streets tonight. Let's go.
This is nothing. 2 weeks I spent here once for Summer League.
I did
Do
too.
not complain about 3 days, all right?
So you and I have done the same thing.
Hey.
I can complain about 3 days because I also have been here for 2 weeks for Summer League.
Lindsay, I'm going to tell you my Summer League experience was probably much different than your Summer League experience back in my heyday, all right?
I don't know what that means, but I don't know if I want to know, to be completely honest
Probably
with you.
not.
Yeah.
But what I do know is Suns basketball and Four Peaks go hand in hand, and we've got a Suns game coming up a little bit later in the afternoon. So make sure you guys stop by the grocery store or the gas station and pick up some Four Peaks beer so you can enjoy Four Peaks and the Summer Suns at the same time. Make sure you check them out on social at Four Peaks Brew or at Four Peaks Pub to keep up with the latest at Arizona's hometown brewery. You do have to be 21 or older to drink Four Peaks, and we ask that you drink responsibly. Also, if you are heading out to maybe watch the game with some friends, stop at Circle K. You can pick up the beer. You can also pick up snacks, even some Polar Pops, and you can fuel up so that the trip over and back is as smooth as possible. Make sure you are not missing out on all the great stuff that Circle K has to offer. Right now, if you text PHNX to 31310 to join their SMS subscriber club, you're going to get a buy one, get one free offer on 32-ounce Polar Pops. So head to circlek.com/store-locator to find Circle K's near you. Also, I don't think we've taken off our Shady Rays since we got here.
You don't want to see what's behind these
It's
shades.
basically just been like, this is
I saw some comments
uniform for Vegas.
judging us for wearing our glasses indoors, and I promise you, I give no fucks about it.
Same. I mean, it's just one of those things.
Shady Rays, hide the pain.
That's right, baby.
Shout out to Shady Rays.
How many glasses are you wearing, Gerald?
Exclusively for all of you guys listening and watching, Shady Rays is giving out their best deal of the season. Go to shadyrays.com and use code PHNX for 50% off 2 or more pairs of polarized sunglasses. Try for yourself. The shades rated 5 stars by over 250,000 people. All right, guys, before we get into the shenanigans, we do have a Summer Suns game this afternoon at 3:30. Do you anticipate seeing Kamara and Goodwin out there today, or do you think it might be a little less playing time for those two?
No, Timoni Kamara is going to play.
Yeah, I would assume Kamara plays. I doubt we see Goodwin. I think they're going to be cautious with him and maybe wait. I think their next game they do play tomorrow. So, they're going to be cautious with him. So he likely won't play. They haven't ruled him out definitively yet.
Yeah, I'd shut Goodwin down at this point. I don't think you need to see any more and risk any further injury.
Yeah, I agree with that. But like Tumani, there's no reason Tumani shouldn't play in every single summer league game because you don't know how many reps he's going to get during the regular season. He's not expected to play a lot during the regular season unless he makes just some phenomenal jump. But he's a good player, and he needs all the reps he can get, and these are good reps. Like, get out there. So it's not like your traditional first-round draft pick in this scenario. I know he's the only draft pick, but because of that doesn't mean that they're going to hold him back, in my estimation. Now, if they do, they do, but I don't see him missing any of these summer league games.
Yeah, I think you probably get 3 out of him.
Yeah.
I think that's probably the right number, and then go, all right, we don't need to see him unless he's pushing hard that he wants the run, which may be the case. But if he plays like he did the other night, tonight, I think I've seen enough that I need to know in terms of what he brings. And I don't think he's going to make any headway on getting extra playing time in the regular season at Summer League. That's going to come in training camp in a couple months. Yeah. So we'll see how it plays out, though.
Yeah, because you got to see how he holds up against higher level NBA players, right? Like, no shade to Summer League players whatsoever, but there is a difference, absolutely.
Mm-hmm.
All right, let's get into some shenanigans. I feel like we haven't had enough shenanigans considering we are in Vegas for these last couple of shows.
We haven't really had any.
We really haven't. So what might have to change
That's
that
about
tomorrow.
to change.
Oh, boy.
We'll start it now and we'll keep it going into tomorrow's show. Espo, since you were in the middle of this, I will let you take it away.
So yesterday, Gerald and I were asked, well, would one of you come on the DNVR Nuggets show? And I looked at Gerald and I said, you sit right there, buddy. I'm going to go take these pot shots from these guys. I'll go on the program and defend our honor. You don't have to worry about it. So I showed up over there, and of course I got cornered about. I mean, it's coming. Adam Mares, he set me up, and he said, Harrison Wind, I'm going to give you the floor. You can talk about why the Nuggets are superior and going to crush the Suns, and then I'll give Espo a few minutes to try to. Convince us otherwise, but we're not going to anyways, no matter what happens. And we can take a listen to part of what Harrison said here.
Let's do this game real quick, and then we got to get out of here. But, Wind, you can go first. Give me the case for why the Denver Nuggets – you're going to be the judge here, Will. Give me the case for why the Denver Nuggets are going to repeat as Western Conference champions.
Well, we haven't gotten to the Bowl discussion of this, which is an entirely separate
How
podcast.
Could I forget?
But the reason why is because I don't think the Suns learned anything from the playoffs last year. The Suns doubled down on offense, and that wasn't the reason why the Nuggets beat them. They still can't stop Nikola Jokic. They still can't stop the Nuggets starting five.
Can't slow him.
They can't even slow him. So I just don't think the Suns really present that many more problems for the Nuggets than they did last year.
Espo?
Play stupid games, win stupid prizes, Harrison.
Oh, boy.
All right?
Here we go.
I defended us there, but this is my home turf, and now it's time to really go at it. I was respectful enough because I was there. But really? The Suns didn't do anything to get better? I don't know. They fired their entire coaching staff and changed that. I think that helped. They got Bradley Beal, one of the top 30 players in the NBA. They didn't double down because they got an entire bench that could shoot and play defense. Yeah, I'm saying it. We're coming for Larry, all right? We got better in Phoenix, and you guys lost your bench players. So, you know what? Things have gotten better here and not so much in the Mile High City. The Outlaws are coming for your ass, and we're going to take the Larry O'Brien trophy. And that's the fact, Jack.
Talk that ish, Espo.
And then KBD. Hold on. That KBD got brought up. All right, and it was, what's the hype with KBD? And then you go, hold on, let me stat your ass here a little bit. I did some research since I kind of got hijacked over there and didn't have a chance to look anything up or anything.
I got hijacked.
So let me give you 2 stats, right? This was this gentleman, 10.8 points a game, 2.7 rebounds, 2.4 assists. The other gentleman, 9.7 points, 3.7 rebounds, and 1.5 assists. Okay, one of them's the guy that they said was overhyped and sucked on that show. The other one is Kentavious Caldwell-Pope, who had the 10.8 points, 2.7 assists, and 2.4 points. Wasn't he a major part of what the Nuggets did last year? And he had basically the same stats as KBD. I don't quite get it. I don't get it, boys. What's with the Contavious Caldwell Pope hype? I don't understand why you guys love him. Sorry, I didn't mean to hijack all this. I just held all that in since yesterday.
This is your time to shine.
Gentlemen, what are your thoughts? And Lindsay,
your
you
time
can
to shine.
Go ahead, Gerald. I'll let this.
No, I mean, like you mentioned, no disrespect to Harrison from me, but
it was all disrespect.
I know that's why I said from me. But, I think the defensive thing has kind of gotten lost in the mix. I do think they added a lot of length, a lot of defense. I trust Nikias and John Hollinger that they believe that KBD is one of the more switchable wings that you can have on the perimeter. Josh Okogie, they're bringing him back. Jordan Goodwin, he's a great defender. Like, they have added defense. The question is whether these guys that they've brought in, whether some of the bench guys like Yuta can he hold up defensively in a playoff series to where the three-point shooting holds up. You've got questions like that about a lot of these guys. So I get some of the skepticism. But this idea that they haven't added defense, Drew Eubanks, very good rim protector. Like, a lot of, I just named 4 guys that they added
Josh
who
Okogie's
defensively
back too.
can
How
help
much
you.
did they spend on those guys, by the way?
And it was very little for those guys. And to the point about, like, they don't have anybody still that can stop Nikola Jokic. Well, nobody can stop Nikola Jokic. You don't beat the Nuggets by stopping Nikola Jokic. You hope that Frank Vogel, who, like you mentioned, defensive-minded coach, can tap into the DeAndre Ayton that we saw in 2021 versus the one that we saw a couple of months ago, because he is physically one of the best suited guys to at least make it difficult for him. He didn't do that in this last playoff series. Jokic has better talent around him than he did back in 2021. He's a better player than he was in 2021. But DA is still, like, what were you supposed to do in the offseason? Who are you going to get that's going to stop Nikola Jokic? Like, you're not. So, and the idea that, going from Chris Paul to Bradley Beal was totally kind of overlooked in that conversation. I feel like that's a pretty big upgrade there. So I couldn't disagree more with his take on that.
I just thought it was very short-sighted. It was very short-sighted, and clearly, again, we love Wendy. He's one of our guys. However, that was just a bad take. Like, that was just an overall bad take. Like, the fact that he was like, they didn't learn anything from the Nuggets series. The fuck they didn't. What are you talking about? They had dudes that couldn't throw a rock in the ocean from the corner that were wide open. Yes, I know Landry Shamet shot 50%, but a lot of that came in one game, a game that the Suns won. Now imagine if you multiply that a couple times. Now, guess what? You're going to win some of those games that you lost. And so that's where that offensively, Utah being wide open in the corner. In the corner. You have Eric Gordon that can space the floor a little bit more. You got bench scoring finally. Last year, the bench was a hindrance. Mm-hmm. Like, it wasn't something you could go to and count on. Now you have that. And in addition, you have other players that have a lot of versatility. So when you have to try to make switches, throw doubles at Jokic, try to help out DeAndre Ayton when he's actually engaged, to try and mix the coverages up. They have that ability to do it. And then let me remind you about the fact that, yes, I know Bull's probably not going to be a major contributor. And if he is, great. And that changes the dynamic even more, right? Mm-hmm. But you are talking about 3 7-footers that you could potentially put on the court at one time. And when you're talking about versatility and throwing up different key looks to Jokic, who is a tall guy, obviously 7-footer, that matters. That length matters. That length can bother you from time to time. It's not something that you're going to give him a steady diet of because he's too great of a player to give him the same look all the time. Like, he's going to pick you apart. But what you're trying to do is you're trying to throw up some versatility. And I think what they've done in that regard is completely being overlooked by that comment. So offensively, defensively, I think they upgraded, they got better, and they did it for about the same cost as a Bruce Brown contract. So there you go.
Well, I said this on their show too. I think if you're a GM that you're trying to build a roster to stop Nikola Jokic, you're an idiot. That you're not going to stop Nikola Jokic. It's about stopping the other guys, letting Nikola Jokic do his thing, and figuring out how you can offensively just outwork them. And I think the Suns did exactly that this offseason. So,
plus, I think, like Gerald, you mentioned this off the top too, but I think this is not something to overlook, the coaching staff change. I think that could be a huge one as well. Rockin' to Mike in the comments said, plus Monty didn't use Ross or Warren when the bench was not scoring anything during that series. Like, you have a different mindset coming into these type of matchups because you have a different head coach. So that in and of itself could make a huge difference.
You will not see Frank Vogel watch his players do the same shit game after game after game and expecting a different result. No, he will mix some things up. He will give dudes their opportunity. And even, you know what, one of the things that I did not like about, no disrespect to Monty, he was a great coach, don't get me wrong, but you did see when they would make those trades, unless it was somebody that he was truly comfortable with, he didn't really give him a lot of an opportunity to really shine consistently. You saw that with TJ and Ross, and I thought that hurt them in the playoffs. Frank Vogel won't be like that. If they were to make a midseason trade for whatever, I don't see that happening. These guys are all starting off fresh. They don't have just 8 games to prepare for the playoffs before they hit the Clippers. It's going to be significantly different now.
See, and that's the other big portion of this is that Kevin Durant got hurt, so him playing with this Suns squad was a handful of games before they had to go into the playoffs. Now we're talking about an entire offseason. You've got training camp and then a whole regular season to figure it out together. And that's going to be a huge difference.
And to your point about the coaching staff, if you look at the teams that Frank Vogel has had, other than the 2 years that he spent with the Magic with bad rosters and his last year in LA with a terrible roster, his teams have ranked 10th, 1st, 3rd, 1st in defensive rating.
But they didn't do anything to get better on defense.
No,
it's only offense.
0.
Look, I don't think I'm going to get invited back on the DNVR show. I'm just taking a guess here. I am still getting traded to CHGO, don't you worry.
Here's the thing. This seems like it's like the sibling rivalry of the 2 oldest siblings who are only 14 months apart and just butt heads constantly. That is what DNVR and PHNX are when it comes to basketball at the very least.
It's true, but one of the things that always bothered me was the fact that they were always saying we don't skip steps. We don't skip steps. I'm like, man, fuck your steps. What kind of steps? We had 50 fucking plus years of step building. Fuck off. I don't want to hear that shit.
We fell down those steps. Thank you very much.
Twice.
Yeah, multiple times.
Oh my goodness gracious. But it'll be fun.
But we do love our Nuggets.
We will have listen, here's the thing. If you want to say I'm going to hold out on deciding what I feel about the Suns until I see it in action, I'll give you that.
Yeah.
But to make that statement right now and just proclaim that this is exactly what it's going to be, just
that we didn't watch Game 6 and see us get housed and realize all our deficiencies and just say, meh, double down.
Run it back.
What? Now, if Monty had come back and this team basically was the same team that came back, yeah, I could see that point. But that's not what happened at all.
Yeah, look, this comes down to it's 1-1 between these teams in the playoffs. Let's get a third. Let's get a rubber match here, head to head, and see what happens. I want to see that.
Be fun.
It would be fun. Well, I'm excited for this upcoming season.
I do want to say one other thing,
too. Should we make a bet with them?
Yes, we should.
And by we, I mean you two, because I don't want to have to owe them anything.
Why?
I'm just kidding.
I do want to say something we didn't really point out yesterday, but a lot of you have found it. Our guy Shane Diefenbach has been doing a phenomenal job. That dude has been busting his ass left and right, trying to cover all the behind-the-scenes stuff that we're doing here at Summer League and then some, all the interviews that you're seeing. He's been a superstar this whole weekend. So give him some love. Watch our vlogs. I think day 2's already been posted. We'll have another one coming up tomorrow for day 3, where you'll see today. And he's been the MVP, man. I really love that kid.
Yeah, the Deef has been fantastic out here. It's been great.
And all these interviews and videos that you're seeing, Shane is with me the whole time, lugging all this equipment around. So he's been working his ass off. So hats off to Shane. Thank you for being here and making my job easier, because all I have to do is talk to people. So.
Also Emma too. Those two carry our show. Yeah. Let's be honest.
Yes.
Although sometimes we have to carry Emma off the show. So.
That's fine. But on the show, she carries.
Emma literally carried the show here today on her back.
But here's the thing. There's a ton of content on our YouTube channel right now. So if you are here watching with us on YouTube, scroll through, check it out. We've got a bunch of interviews that are up there, and more will be coming as well, plus the vlogs that you guys had mentioned.
Yeah.
So tons of bonus stuff there.
We got 4 more coming today. The full interview with Doug McDermott, Nikias, Kobe Price, who's the Magic guy that we talked with Bol with yesterday. So lots of stuff going up today, and then we'll have post-game stuff, obviously, from the Suns game too.
Selfish brag. There's not another outlet out there that's doing what we're doing, period. And you've seen the stuff, go on with the Athletic making a pivot from local coverage to national a little bit more and stuff like that. And, with AZ Central, AZ Sports, and us, Like, we're the only outlets that are doing this day in, day out, trying to cover your team the best way we possibly can. And it's fun for us, but we do it because we want to be able to provide that content to you guys. So thank you for following us along.
Gerald's the hardest working man in the business, both on the clock and off of it. So
Gerald goes hard. He goes hard with a capital H.
We know. We could tell by his voice. Remember?
Yeah. It was all the questions I was asking.
You're just asking so many tough questions.
What was the drink called with the flower?
Buzz button.
Did you just sing that?
Yeah. He must still be drunk if he's doing my stuff now.
Can we make that a thing? Thank God somebody else can take it.
We need a segment called Buzz Button.
We can. There's a lot we could do with a Buzz Button segment. I'm already wheels are turning here. I
feel like I'm going to get punched if I hit a buzz. Like, if we had a buzz button and I buzzed you, Lindsay, I feel like the first thing that would happen is I get hit in the face. I'm like, what the fuck? What was that for?
Just because. You probably did something that you deserved it for in the last 24 hours, right?
I don't like your lack of confidence in me.
I'm amazed you haven't taken me out to the desert and ended things like you suggested.
It's because I literally got here and got sick, so I'm too tired to follow up on my threats, Espo. You're lucky. My immune system decided to just take a nap.
Yeah, thank you, the cold virus, for keeping me alive here. I much appreciate it.
All right. Well, thank you guys for joining us. We appreciate you as always. We'll be back tomorrow at 11 a.m. with our final show from Vegas. So make sure you come hang out with us. Until then, you can follow the show on Twitter at PHNX_Suns. You can follow me at Lindsay Smith AZ. You can follow Saul at Saul_Bookman. You can follow Espo at Espo. This is weird. You can follow Gerald at Gerald Bourget. I don't like you guys being in the wrong seats now. That threw me off a lot. But Espo, you can take us home.
Just remember, the D in Denver stands for, well, you can fill that in. Ahoy, hoy.
Tell the Phoenix Metro, Megas in control and he ain't never gonna let go. PHNX though, Lindsay, Gerald, Espo. Saw past the ball, we here to turn up the tempo. Got to understand me, y'all.